This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. Hang on a second though, let's try this GCSE German. So, Guten Morgen, Guten Tag, Guten Abend and hello. That's pretty much all I can remember, apart from Wo ist der Aschenbecher, which I think is where's the ashtray. If anyone's listening in Germany, I'm sure you can correct me. And I have a vague recollection that meine Kopf tut weh means my head hurts. And that is all I have after 2 years of studying German in school. Anyway, I digress. It's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along once again. And thank you so much for the follows this week on Twitter. For anyone who hasn't done so already, and for anyone who wants to, I am at Amanda SD Pod. That's at Amanda SD Pod. So first things first, guys. First, I want to thank Rob Matic12 for your explanation of the Carmelo Hayes barbershop thing. Thank you. I now understand and can officially stop commenting on that and let it lie. Thank you very much. Second of all, big shout out to Jessie from Melbourne, who's also reached out this week on Twitter. And as you are in Australia, Jessie, it's my obligation to say Aussie, 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 and wait for your response. I'm sure you oid. But thank you guys for listening and responding. Really great to know you're out there. So did you guys see the teaser for the new Vince McMahon documentary? Apparently coming to Netflix September 25th. It looks fun. I've seen a picture, which I assume is like from the opening credits or something, and it says has Vince as like a puppet master, and it says Mastermind on one side and then Madman on the other. I can't wait. I think that's going to be epic, must watch for us all. So yeah, that looks like it's going to be great. Netflix 25th of September apparently. So before we get to our review of SmackDown, let's get to some quick predictions for Bash in Berlin tomorrow. I'm defending my outstanding record of 2 correct. I've got to remember this time, head over heart, not what I want, what I think. Okay, so first of all, Gunther versus Randy. I have this as a Gunther win. This is only his first title defence. I'd like Randy to win. That's what I want. But my head says Gunther, so I'm going Gunther. Cody versus KO. I think this one's really simple. I think this is a sitter. So this is a Cody win. There's no way at all that Cody loses this. And I think we get a KO turn as well. Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, the strap match. I think this is going to be a win for Punk, and I think he gets the bracelet back. Damien and Rhea versus Dom and Liv. This is difficult. Half of me thinks Dom and Liv win, taking it to the respective single matches and a title shot for Rhea at Bad Blood. And the other half thinks... I don't know, actually. Maybe Dom and Liv take the win with some massive shenanigans from the rest of the Judgment Day. So head over heart, I'm going for Dom and Liv to win. Hopefully setting up for Liv to get her ass kicked at Bad Blood in a title match for Rhea. That's my call. Yeah, Dom and Liv. Championship match, tag team title. So it's Alba Fire and Isla Dawn versus Jade and Bianca. When I wrote this before I watched SmackDown, the opening bit, not all of it obviously, that would be insane, I said that I think the champs retain which was a bit of a stab in the dark because I thought this one was quite a tough call as well. But I think I might have changed my mind now, having seen the Jade and Bianca promo within the show. But let's get to that. So for now, let's say Champs retain, so Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. But that one might change. Let's see. Okay, well, let's see how we do. I mean, I only have to get 3 to improve on my appalling record, so fingers crossed. So let's get to it and review the SmackDown that aired on August 30th from Berlin, Germany. And as we kick off tonight, we see Cody enter the arena, and then we get told that there will be a face-to-face tonight between him and KO. We then get Nia and Tiffany arriving and reminded that tonight we have a title match, which will be a street fight between Nia and Mi Chim. First up, in terms of action, we've got LA Knight making his way to the ring for his open challenge. He gets a massive pop, as usual. And who's it going to be? We don't know. I haven't seen anything on Twitter or anything this week, so I legit don't know who it is. We've also got a changed up commentary team this week with Cole joining Wade, but as we progress through the show, I think Wade is going to be replaced in coming weeks by Corey, so we'll have Michael Cole and Corey, which I think is a nice pairing. LA Knight has the mic in his hand. He says it's been 27 years since WWE was in Berlin for a major TV event. He says, what a great way to kick it off with the megastar. Well, I couldn't agree more. He says he had his first title defense in the US capital of Washington last week, and he thought he might as well defend it in the capital of Germany. He then goes on to say that maybe that will be a thing, and he'll just defend it in capitals. I'm not sure how that's going to work, unless he says it's state capitals as well. I don't think they travel to that many capitals often enough. He calls out his challenger, and then I thought it was Gunther's music that hit, but it may not have been. But it sounded very much like Gunther's music, and then out comes Ludwig Kaiser. So maybe they share music. I'm not completely sure. He gets a good pop, obviously, being in his home country. He says he's sure that LA Knight wants to defend against the best he can, and he assures him that no one is better on German soil. He says he will win the title and make it the European title. And LA Knight says that's very impressive for Gunther's stooge, which was a fun line. And then that looks like it's official. That's tonight's first match. So the open challenge is LA Knight versus Ludwig Kaiser. I wouldn't have guessed Ludwig Kaiser if you'd have given me a month of guesses, which is probably my bad because obviously he's German. So, yeah, stupid me. But there we go. As we come back from the break, we are ready to go. The crowd are really behind Kaiser. LA Knight gets in an early offense, but Kaiser soon switches it, and we go back and forth during the early knock-ins of this match. We actually hear that this is Kaiser's first singles match for a title, which I guess makes sense, but again, hadn't thought about it. LA Knight pounding Kaiser in the corner and getting the yeah chants from the crowd, but he is soon reversed by Kaiser, who returns the favour. Massive clothesline from Knight as the action moves outside the ring, and Kaiser is dropped on his neck on the apron. Kaiser then takes charge on the outside of the ring, ramming Knight into the steps, as Kaiser sets up for a running kick through Knight and into the steps, which looked pretty gnarly. As we come back from the break, Kaiser has retained the upper hand, and he has Knight in the ring and is beating down on him. Knight attempts to fight back, and the two trade blows in the ring, with Kaiser again getting the upper hand. Knight battles back and has Kaiser in the corner, and then over the top rope again, smashing Kaiser's head off the German announce table. Knight with a neck breaker and an elbow from the middle rope for a close 2 count. Knight still on top with a big knee to the face of Kaiser, but then we get a reversal by Kaiser and a huge kick and a quick and very close cover. Knight then gets the power slam, but Kaiser counters the BFT and goes for the cover. Kaiser gets back into it with another kick, and Kaiser wall for a really, really close cover. Knight then hits a BFT with the cover and retains his title. I thought this was a good match. Despite Kaiser being the hometown guy, so to speak, the crowd was still behind Knight when he was on top, which still left Kaiser getting his best ever crowd reaction. Cole mentioned, interestingly, in the commentary that Gunther is in fact Austrian. He has Germany as his adopted home, so that's good. At least we don't have to pretend that when Gunther was the Intercontinental title, he didn't have the Austrian flag on his side plates, which he so did. So at least now they're acknowledging that he's Austrian, but he has made his home, or whatever the story is, in Germany. A good match. LA Knight still popular, still very over, even despite being up against the hometown guy. Next up, we get a vignette building up Gunther versus Randy. We see some of Gunther's greatest hits, and he tells us again about the legacy of the championship. Then we hear from Randy, who basically says that he's the reason that the title exists. We also get a playback of the Randy non-shoulder down cover in the King of the Ring tournament. And Randy says he is going to leave Berlin as a 15-time champion. We see Randy's RKO again on Gunther and are reminded of Gunther's promo where he was bad-mouthing Randy's family. Randy also said it was good that Gunther considered himself as a legend, as Randy is the legend killer, which was another fantastic line. Next up, we have a tag team match. To be honest, guys, I had to wait to see who it was. I had no idea who the entrance music was related to, but it turns out it's Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews versus Angel and Berto, who are called La Garza when they're together. Cole tells us, as we go to the break, that this is a very important match for Legado del Fantasma. I guess he is referring to the sort of ultimatum, I guess, that Escobar gave them last week, that they had to, start being impressive and bring the fear, etc. Before we go to the match, we get a promo from Nia, who says greatness is her destiny, and basically showing her squashing everyone on the roster. I know Nia is doing a lot better this run, but I'm still just not feeling it. I can't get on board the Nia train. I actually think I preferred her face character when she was dealing with the whole Alexa Bliss thing in her first run. I wonder if we will see a return of face Nia, if and probably when Tiffany turns on her with the briefcase. Saying that though, Tiffany is pretty over, so maybe that wouldn't work either. I know it's personal preference, guys. Matt's not into Cody. I'm not into Nia. I just can't get there. Back to the match, and we now have Legado del Fantasma making their entrance. Cole reminds us again this is higher stakes for them to bring the fear back to Legado del Fantasma. We kick off with Apollo and Berto in the ring, and these two guys are tearing it up at the start with some very athletic moves. Apollo with an inverted suplex, which he held up in the air for literally hours, goes straight for the cover, which he's kicked out of. Corbin is tagged in, but is overcome by Berto, who tags in Angel, who tried to do some double teaming on Corbin, but he flattens them both with a clothesline. Corbin is still in charge with Angel, but is double teamed in the corner, and it's actually Berto who is legal. Corbin gets the tag, and Angel is quickly dispatched to the outside. Apollo is launched over the top by Corbin and takes out both Angel and Berto as we go to the break. That move was ace, using Apollo basically as a weapon, and Corbin just sort of like pings the rope back like what you used to do with an elastic band in school. So that's a pretty wicked move. As we come back, the momentum has changed. It's annoying, but I'm not going to go on about it. And Angel and Berto now have the upper hand, and we get a near fall straight away by Berto, and they continue to beat down Cruz in the corner. Cruz has some pretty great athletic moves and actually leapfrogs Angel to get to the tag, which brings Corbin back in, beating up Berto and Angel. Corbin with a face-first slam, and Berto has to move really quickly to break up the cover. Berto with a springboard kick to Cruz also takes out Corbin on the outside. Escabasi launches Corbin into the steps off the distraction by Elektra Lopez again. She's proving real key, similar to what B-Fab is with the Profits. Whilst in the ring, off the distraction, Berto gets a near fall on Cruz. Cruz up onto the top rope, but Berto intercepts him with an arm drag from the second rope and a tag to Angel. Los Garza hit the MTY, which I think Cole said stands for Monterey, on Cruz, and that gets them the pin and the victory. Surprisingly, a really enjoyable match. Berto and Angel are always great to watch, and I like them as heels. I like them as part of Legado del Fantasma as well. I hope they get the push they deserve. I think the whole group, the whole of Legado del Fantasma, is actually pretty impressive. I'm really enjoying that. Will we see Elektra Lopez in the ring, do we think? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. As for Corbin and Cruz, well, as Wade said on commentary, they are now 3-0 losses. I like Cruz. He's a great athlete. I'm not sure about his character. It still feels a bit meh. I'm not sure what the hell they're doing with Corbin since he came back from NXT. Again, his character just seems bland. So I guess just watch this space, because I honestly couldn't tell you what's next for these guys. Will they go down to NXT together? Will they get a different program? Will they continue? Will they break up? I don't know. So we now get a recorded promo from Solo with the Bloodline. He says next week the Bloodline will be acknowledged by both DIY and the Street Profits. He reminds them what they're up against, saying he has taken out his own brother, Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. He said, imagine what the four of them will do when that's what he will do to his own family, which is a fair point. He threatens Cody or KO, saying he doesn't care who wins, he's coming for the title. I thought this was interesting, as we got a reminder of exactly who has been taken out by Solo and the Bloodline. And I thought that maybe this is a teaser to remind us who is coming back into, let's call it Roman's bloodline or whatever. I hope it's happening soon. It has to be lining up for Bad Blood, right? I mean, it's just perfect. So we're nearly there. I think I saw an ad for Bad Blood. It's like the 5th of October or something like that. So we don't have long to wait. We now go to the ring where Nick Aldis, or as you guys know, Oblivion the Gladiator, as we like to call him, is there talking up how pleased he is and how pleased WWE is to be in Berlin, Germany, and Europe. We get a highlight package of the WWE European Tour, which Nick says has been very successful. And he brings out Cody and KO for their face-to-face. KO out first to a nice reaction from the crowd. He doesn't seem super up for it, to be fair. Wade says he owes KO an apology, as he didn't turn on Cody last week. I think we all thought he would. I'm still not into this storyline that much, to be fair. Then Nick brings out Cody, who, as always, gets a ginormous pop, and the noise counter is back, which I like. I think it encourages people to really give it some when they're at a live event, so that's great. KO is looking really weird and shifty in the ring as Cody makes his usual entrance, and Cole reminds us that Cody picked KO for his opponent. Nick, at this point, I thought this was quite weird. Nick says, "Good luck for tomorrow night, and the floor is yours." And then off he pops. Not really sure what the point of him was. He gave a bit of hype to WWE in Berlin and etc., what they've been doing in Europe, but yeah, a bit weird. Anyway, so KO asks Cody what he wants to talk about, and he says the championship and that they will fight for the undisputed WWE championship in a sold-out Berlin tomorrow night. KO says we can talk about that, or we can talk about what happened to Cody's knee during the tour. Cody says his knee's fine, and let's talk about last week when KO and Cody beat Waller and Theory. He calls them the two biggest upcoming stars in WWE, which is a nice thing. It's probably right. They probably are two of the next big stars. Cody wants to talk about last week after the match when it looked like KO was going to hit Cody in the back with the title. He says he may have done if Cody hadn't turned around when he did. KO says, why would he do that? They have so much history. Cody says, is he mad with him because KO doesn't get enough credit for the revolution that's happening in the business at the moment and Cody gets too much? KO says he doesn't need a cheap shot as he knows he has hurt his knee. Cody again says his knee is fine and asks KO if he wants to pull out like he wanted to before. KO then says he doesn't want a tainted victory and a tainted title run like he has before when he beats him if he's injured. Cody tells KO that he loves him and considers him a true friend, but asks when Cody beats him tomorrow night, will they still be friends? KO throws away his mic and whispers something to Cody that we don't hear. And leaves. I'm still not feeling it for this match. I had hoped that they would do some kind of really great build to get things going, but in my opinion, I don't think they've done that at all. Feels like Cody just wants to fight one of his mates, and it feels like a just completely empty match. I think KO was acting weird tonight, and I don't know if that was in storyline or whether there was something going on. I don't know. Perhaps there's something in this injured knee angle. Maybe KO goes right for that and something develops. But as it is right now, I'm just thinking yawn fest. I think they could have picked someone else, a different opponent, or built differently or something. I think this might be my first time being disappointed with a Triple H story, but you never know. There's always hope, right? We then go backstage and we see Corbin and Cruz. They bump into Waller and Theory, who start mocking them straight away. Waller throws Theory under the bus again, saying that Theory said such and such a thing, which gets Corbin all riled up. And at that point, Theory finally pulls up Waller on all his shenanigans over the past few weeks and says maybe they're falling apart. Waller says, no, this is what we do in Australia, it's banter. They shake hands and all is well for now, at least. I still think that there's a split and a turn coming with those two. And it can't come soon enough for me, to be honest. I like them both as individuals, and I'd like to see how that develops. Our next match is Andrade versus Carmelo, with Andrade up 2-1. Before we go to that match, though, we get another video package from Giovanni Vinci. He says this isn't his return, it's his arrival. He is coming back next week on SmackDown and looks to have been totally repackaged. Should be good to see, and I'm looking forward to his arrival, see what storylines he gets and what feuds he has. But yeah, that's looks like a good move. So with Andrade having already made his entrance, we now get Carmelo making his way to the ring. We get a reminder of the last match between them and how it ended. Carmelo rushes to the ring straight away, and the bell rings and we're off. Andrade, with an insane corkscrew off the ropes to the outside, gives him the upper hand, but Carmelo with a springboard clothesline. Andrade with a horrible looking move off the top to the outside once again, just kind of looked like he stepped on him with massive force. And we go to a break, but the replay is of the corkscrew from earlier, not the move we just saw. So I'm not sure if something's gone a bit wrong there. Certainly didn't look great. Back from the break, and Hayes has Andrade in the ring. Andrade comes out of another exchange better off, goes to the top, pulls out his double moonsault, which is a beautiful thing. Hayes hits the first 48 and follows up with a Meteora and a cover for 2. And Hayes is selling a knee injury. Andrade pulls off a series of power moves and almost gets a 3 count. He's firmly in charge now, and the crowd absolutely loving him. Carmelo with a super kick from out of nowhere and gets a 2 count. Spanish fly from Andrade into the cover, but Hayes kicks out again. And as we come back from the break, Andrade takes Hayes off the top rope, and again Hayes kicks out. Andrade has Hayes up on the top again. Hayes counters and pulls him onto the exposed turnbuckle, hits nothing but net from the top, and gets the 3 count, levelling up the series between these two to 2 each. Another great match from these two. Really enjoyed the way this has been built. I wasn't super into it at the beginning. I guess we're going to a decider now, which I'm excited about. My prediction would have to be a Hayes win, but probably in some kind of dodgy fashion. As if you look back, none of his wins over Andrade, well, none of the 2 wins that he's had over Andrade have been exactly clean. But they've been brilliant matches, and I've really liked what they've done. We then get a reminder of what has led us to the street fight match for the title, women's title tonight, which is a short video package. First, we get Nia Jax, who is without Tiffany Stratton, so I guess that means that we will be seeing her later on tonight. Before we go to the match, we get some build for the Women's Tag Team Championship match tomorrow night, and this was the point where I thought maybe I might change my mind and go for Jade and Bianca to win back the titles. And I think that's what I'm doing. I think I'm officially changing my prediction. So champions are not going to retain. Jade and Bianca are going to win back the titles. So we get Michin then en route to the ring, cutting a promo as she goes, telling us that we can like her or hate her, but after tonight we won't forget her. I like that. She picks up a shopping trolley on her way, which is filled with weapons. And this is an actual shopping trolley. It's got the coin bit in it and everything. So I'm sure some poor production assistant had to go down to Aldi or something with €1 and, rob a shopping trolley for the night. Anyway, digress. We kick off and Michin starts on the attack with a kendo stick battering Nia. Nia rolls out of the ring and Michin carries on. Nia grabs the stick, but Michin uses her speed to dodge and ram Nia into the ring post. Michin gets a quick 2 count after a great move through the ropes. Michin brings out the table from underneath the ring, but Nia attacks her with a kendo stick and then puts the table back to massive boos from the crowd. Michin then attacks Nia and gets the table back out. It's like the hokey cokey, in, out, in, out. A crowd obviously loving it. As we come back from the break, Nia is in charge, but Michin rolls out of the ring and lets off a fire extinguisher in Nia's face. Nia slams Michin into one of the rubbish cans in the ring, but Michin fights back with the lids. It's like she's playing the cymbals in a band or something. After a botched attempt, Michin finally hits the tornado DDT on the rubbish can lid. Nia is down. At this point, Michin seems to be looking for something specific under the ring, and just now this match doesn't feel like it's flowing particularly well. Nia has then got Michin on the table and shapes up to put her through it, but Michin counters and manages to get Nia through the table. At that point, Tiffany Stratton's music hits. I'm thinking, could this be it? The crowd pop huge. Tiffany runs into the ring, swinging her briefcase, takes out Michin, and it looks like she's about to cash in. She half hands the referee the briefcase and is nodding her head as if to say, yes, I'm cashing in. She's just about to hand over the briefcase to the ref. Nia eyeballs her, and instead of cashing in, she hits Michin again with the briefcase, setting up the cover, so dragging Nia onto Michin, but Michin manages to kick out. At that point, Bayley's music hits, and she comes to the aid of Michin. Bayley chases Tiffany away over the barricade through the crowd, and basically gets rid of her back in the ring. Michin has some great offense, but Nia from nowhere puts her through another table and hits a really sick looking annihilator, but after putting the rubbish can on Michin. So she not only gets squished by Nia's arse, but she also gets squished by the rubbish can. It looked pretty awesome, and Nia obviously gets the free count and retains. This was a decent match. As I said, in places it felt like it didn't flow all that well, but it warmed up as it went along. I'm really enjoying the teasing of the briefcase with Tiffany and will she, won't she? And I guess maybe she never will, because she doesn't have to cash in on Nia as far as I know. She can choose to go and cash in on Liv, I think. So maybe the whole will she, won't she is a big old fat red herring. Maybe something else is going to happen. Anyway, it's good fun, and it's making some very enjoyable TV. So yeah, not bad at all. So guys, all in all, a good show. I'd say maybe one of the weakest in recent months. I do like how some of the major storylines that are not linked to the PLE, and so they carry on week. I also like that the Bloodline aren't always front and centre of the whole episode. I'm looking forward very much to Bash in Berlin, which again is in the primo spot for me of 6 o'clock on a Saturday night. So double awesome for all of us watching in Europe, because I think, we'll probably have like 6, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock kickoffs all around Europe, which is absolutely brilliant for us. So guys, that just about does it for this week's show. Once again, and as always, thank you for having me in your ears. Thank you for reaching out this week, and please continue to do so. I'm really happy to interact and answer questions and talk to you via the show, via Twitter, however. But however you do it, I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a great week as we herald in September and the autumn seasons. And until next time, remember, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.